Hey guys, welcome back to Fantasy Tips. Julian here for another waiver wire video. This is the waiver wire video for week 13. Yes, we are actually already at week 13 of the fantasy hockey season. I want to start this week, guys, by wishing you all a healthy and happy new year. This week starts on January 1st, so this is going to be our first week of 2024 fantasy wise. Let's start the new year on a good note and win your very first matchup of the year. Before we jump into the content, guys, please leave a like and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And if you do want to take your support to the next level, go ahead and check out the Patreon link in the description below and consider becoming a patron. There's so many great perks, like being able to DM me and I'll help you out whenever you need help for just $3 Canadian a month or $2.50 USD. Let's jump into it now, guys, and let's take a look at the schedule for week 13. And on Monday, January 1st, New Year's Day, there was only one game, and that game is the Winter Classic, the Seattle Kraken against the Vegas Golden Knights. Should be a fun one to watch, and that is the only game New Year's Day. Tuesday, there are 13 games. Wednesday, 2 only. Thursday, 13. Friday, 3. Saturday, 12. And Sunday, 4. So the off nights are Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday as usual. And the busy nights have a lot of games, whereas the not busy nights really don't have a lot of games. So prioritizing off nights this week is going to be very, very important. Let's take a look at who has a good schedule then, so we can prioritize those off nights. And the two teams with the best schedules are the Anaheim Ducks and the Washington Capitals, who each play 3 off nights this week. They play Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. Obviously, that Monday off nights are just Vegas and Seattle, so they're not going to get that. But they play 3 off nights, and Washington actually also plays on Tuesday night, so they get a total of 4 games, which is really, really nice. And there's also 3 teams that play on 2 off nights. So teams are Chicago, New Jersey, and Winnipeg. Chicago plays Friday, Sunday. New Jersey plays Wednesday, Friday, and Winnipeg also plays on Friday and Sunday. Now, there are 4 teams that don't really have the best schedule this week. They only play 2 games. Those teams are Buffalo, who play Thursday and Saturday. Edmonton play Tuesday and Saturday. Seattle plays Monday and Thursday. At least they play that Monday game to make their schedule a little bit better. And then St. Louis, Thursday and Saturday only. Let's jump into some forward options now. And the first guy on this list is Matt Duchene at 66% rostered. He's been really, really good all year on that line with Seguin and Marchment. And he hasn't really slowed down a whole lot. Yeah, he might go a couple games without getting a point, and then he'll bounce right back and get you a whole bunch. So Matt Duchene, someone I really like. And next week, Dallas also has a really good off-night schedule. So if he fits in your schedule this week, he's definitely going to fit in next week. So definitely not a bad ad there. Gabriel Vilardi of the Winnipeg Jets. Obviously, the Jets have a couple of off nights this week. Vilardi's been insane. I don't know how he's only 63% rostered, playing top line, top power play, scoring points left and right. I love Vilardi, and he needs to be owned in way more than 63% of leagues. Then we got Owen Tippett, who is now playing on the top line with Couturier and Konechny, as well as the top power play in Philadelphia. That's a fantastic deployment for him, as if he wasn't doing well enough already before that deployment. The dude's shooting a plenty of shots and giving you a safe floor with that, and he's scoring plenty of points. That's definitely someone you want to be adding right now. Like him a lot. Mason McTavish is someone that you might want to be adding right now. The Ducks have a nice off-night schedule, and McTavish obviously started the season amazing on that line with Vatrano and Strome. And guess what? They've reunited that line, so if they can get some of that chemistry back together now, McTavish could start going off again. I like him as an ad this week. Trevor Zegras and Troy Terry play on the top line in Anaheim right now. They're also playing top power play with McTavish and Jamie Drysdale and Killorn. It's a decent power play unit, and these guys seem to be starting to heat up. So grabbing them this week where they have the off nights is definitely a great idea. Next is my Manscaped must-add player of the video, Josh Norris. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code word FANTASYTIPPED at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com with the code word FANTASYTIPPED. Say Happy New Year to your balls with Manscaped. Now, why is Josh Norris my Manscaped must-add player of the video? Well, prior to his last game, he had 5 goals in consecutive games. So 5 games straight, he had a goal. That's fantastic. Alongside that, he put a couple of assists in as well, so 7 points in those 5 games. The dude's absolutely on fire right now. His deployment's pretty good in the middle of Tarasenko and Claude Giroux. He's also getting plenty of top power play time in Ottawa. And even though the Sens haven't been very good this year, Josh Norris has absolutely turned it on and is a priority add right now. Then we got Dylan Strome of the Washington Capitals, who prior to a couple of games ago was on a nice point streak, getting points left and right seemingly. He's playing top line and top power play in Washington, and they do have those off nights this week, so he's definitely a great add this week. Even though he has gone cold a couple of games, he's probably not going to stay cold like that. He's playing on a great line. Definitely a good pickup here. Sean Couturier is another guy I'm looking at. He's playing top line, top power play. Really seems to have turned it up a notch recently. Playing with Owen Tippett and connecting the 2 best players on Philadelphia definitely helps his value as well. Well, as a top power play with those guys. So definitely Sean Couturier has a lot of value and should be added in more leagues. Then we got Max Pacioretty of the Washington Capitals. He was my Manscaped must-add player of the video last week and could be once again this week. Max Pacioretty is going to be getting top power play time in all likelihood in Washington. He's probably going to get plenty of top 6 deployment as well. The dude loves to shoot the puck. And with the off nights that Washington has this week, Max Pacioretty is a phenomenal add. He could very well have been my Manscaped must-add player once again this week. Add Max Pacioretty to your team. I understand the injury risk, but there's no risk at all if he's floating on your waiver wire and you want to give him a shot. Adam Fantilli of the Columbus Blue Jackets has kind of turned it on lately, playing on the top line with Johnny Gaudreau, getting plenty of ice time and putting up plenty of points as of late. Dakota Joshua is playing really well on that third line with Connor Garland and Pius Suter. That's not that great of a line just on paper, but they're playing fantastic right now. And I don't think Dakota Joshua's hot streak is going to last forever, but as long as he is scoring goals and putting up points, I don't see the harm in streaming Dakota Joshua. Juraj Slafkovsky of the Montreal Canadiens is someone who I absolutely have been loving watching those Habs games recently. He's looking super good on the ice. He's using his size to his advantage, and he's just playing some great hockey, putting up points, and really showing why he was selected first overall. His deployment's great as well, playing on the top power play and top line with Suzuki and Caulfield. It's a great place for him to be and probably should be added in more leagues until he potentially cools down. Colton Sisson's been someone who's been producing quite a lot. Despite not getting top 6 minutes, he's getting top power play time. And he's kind of an all-around guy. He shoots, he hits, and if you have face-off wins in your league, he's super valuable there as well. Colton Sissons is someone that, if you do have all those categories, is definitely a must-add. Yegor Chinakhov is playing on the top power play as well as the second line with Voronkov and Kirill Marchenko. Great deployment for him, and even though Voronkov and Marchenko have gone a little bit cold, Chinakhov has still been consistently putting up goals and points. He's only rostered in 9% of leagues, so definitely as long as this dude's hot, I don't mind rostering him, especially if you're in a deeper league and he's available. Josh Anderson is also someone who's been turning it up. He's someone that I have been mentioning is really turning his season around right now. He's scoring plenty of goals, finally, and he's putting up decent peripherals as well. So as long as this dude is hot, you know that Josh Anderson is a pretty good hockey player. So definitely a pretty safe add there, and he's available in 94% of leagues. Marcus Johansson's been someone who's been sneaky good playing on the second line on the Minnesota Wild. As long as he's putting up points, he's definitely rosterable in super deep leagues. He's available in 98% of them right now. Anthony Mantha, someone who's playing on the second line right now in Washington, having kind of a bounce back season right now, only owned in 2% of league, but the dude's scoring points seemingly left and right. And he's playing top power play right now, although I'm not sure if that's going to continue once Pacioretty returns to the lineup. But either way, guys, if you're in a super deep league and you need someone for the off nights, Anthony Mantha is an excellent option. And then finally, Teddy Bluger of the Vancouver Canucks. Everyone's attention is focused on Dakota Joshua, but Teddy Bluger is doing arguably just as good as Dakota Joshua is. Same thing with Connor Garland. Honestly, any of those 3 guys are great adds right now since that line is super, super hot. I focused on Blueger specifically because he's available in 99% of leagues. Seriously, go check his game log. As long as that dude's hot, you can have him in your lineup. Jumping into defensemen now, and the first guy on this list is Sean Durzi of the Arizona Coyotes. Somehow down to 66% rostered, back from injury now, and he's scoring points like crazy, making up for lost time here. Definitely add him now before it's too late, because he's going to be well over 70% rostered very soon. Travis Sanheim, someone who, despite not getting top power play time, seems to continually be putting up points, so he's definitely rosterable as well. Same thing with Matthias Ekholm. No top power play time, but consistently putting up points, some good peripherals, and someone that I do like a decent amount. Brock Faber of the Minnesota Wild, up to 31% rostered. He's a great add right now because he's getting top power play time. Once Spurgeon gets back, will he continue to get that top power play time? I personally don't think so. Spurgeon is a very good top power play kind of guy, so that may go to him. So if Spurgeon's back, just keep an eye on that. But for now, Brock Faber's a pretty solid ad. Ivan Provorov is a good ad because Zach Werenski's out for a while. Once again, poor guy can't stay healthy, but that means that Provorov is going to have quite a bit more value because he's going to be getting top power play time in Columbus. Jamie Drysdale of the Anaheim Ducks is now getting top power play time instead of Mintyukov, and he's playing on a pretty good power play with Troy Terry, Trevor Zegras, Mason McTavish. It's not bad. And he's already got a goal. That's not a power play goal, but he's doing pretty well so far. Definitely someone that I don't mind adding and should be owned in more leagues. He's a top power play guy. Cam York in Philadelphia is also a top power play guy over there. He's not performing particularly amazing, but definitely putting up enough points and peripherals to be rosterable in more than 7% of leagues. David Savard is someone who's playing very well right now, putting up plenty of block shots. And while he's putting up points right now, I don't think it's going to continue forever, but as long as he's hot, guys, David Savard is definitely rosterable in more leagues. Marcus Pettersson is kind of an interesting one. He's playing on a pairing right now with Letang, and obviously Letang just had a 6-point night. But let's not forget, Pettersson also had a 4-point night that night, so he's kind of hot right now as well. I don't think it's going to last forever. In fact, it might just end abruptly, but if you're in a super deep league, you might as well take a shot at Marcus Pettersson for a couple of games if you're super desperate for defensemen. And finally, Kevin Korchinski of the Chicago Blackhawks is now getting top power play time once again in Chicago. He hasn't done a whole lot yet, but the opportunity is there if you are in a super deep league and you're desperate for some points. Jumping into goalies now, and Jacob Markstrom of the Calgary Flames is up to 70% rostered, so probably the last time I'm going to include him on this list. He's playing pretty well and starting all the games for Calgary. You can't really complain too much there. Peter Kochetkov is still the starting goalie in Carolina, although you do have to note that Frederik Andersen may be returning soon. So Kochetkov is the starter right now, but that may not last too much longer. Scott Wedgwood is the starter in Dallas as long as Jake Ottinger remains on the shelf. He's probably going to miss another week or two. We'll have to see how his progression goes. But for now, Wedgwood is definitely the guy in Dallas and is starting pretty much every game. Martin Jones of the Toronto Maple Leafs has been better than Samsonov. He hasn't been phenomenal though, so he's not my favorite ad here, but he is a quote-unquote starting goalie right now. Joey Daccord of the Seattle Kraken, 41% rostered, playing pretty well right now. He didn't start Wednesday, which was a bit weird. He gave it to Drieger, and Drieger played very well, so we'll have to monitor that a bit. But for now, Joey Daccord is definitely still the starter in Seattle. Karel Vejmelka of the Arizona Coyotes is someone who seems to be taking over the crease right now in Arizona, playing quite a bit better than Connor Ingram, which was the opposite early in the season. Ingram was playing way better than him, but things change, and Karel Vejmelka seems to be the starter once again in Arizona. Peter Mrazek of the Chicago Blackhawks has been really good this year. I think people underestimate just how great Peter Mrazek has been this year. The team that he's playing in front of is not good, but he's consistently putting up good performances, and even when his numbers aren't good, which is rare, he still put on a pretty good show that night. Very impressive in my opinion. Then I have Alex Lyon of the Detroit Red Wings, and with Husso still on the shelf and Reimer playing like absolute garbage, Lyon is back from injury and could take over as the #1 goalie in Detroit. That would be really nice, and obviously I love Lyon, so I would love to see that happen. He's playing the night that I'm recording this, so I don't know how well he did, But as long as he does decently, guys, I would imagine that Lyon is the starter in Detroit for the time being. Joel Ho for the St. Louis Blues has just put together a couple of insanely good games in a row for St. Louis, and it's going to be hard for them to play Binnington over Hofer, at least in the immediate future, considering he's playing so freaking well. He's starting to take over that starting goalie job, and even though the Blues only played twice this week, he's definitely someone to keep on your radar. And finally, Kaapo Kähkönen, only 4% rostered, is getting a decent amount of games for San Jose Sharks, who might be the worst team in the league. But still, if you're in desperate need for a goalie in a points-based league, Kähkönen will fill that void for you. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching all the way through. If you enjoyed this episode, drop a like and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Best of luck in your matchups this week, guys. And once again, I want to wish you a healthy and happy new year. Thanks so much, guys, and I'll catch you in the next episode of Fantasy Tipped.